So Meet Kevin did a study on this regarding folks from this community and the high susceptibility of mental health issues and other psychiatric disorders. And in that, he did a cross-sectional analysis. Okay, he said, of the 10,000 people from this community, this transformer community, identified, 58% had at least one psychiatric diagnosis, which, by the way, up until 2019, identifying with this thing was considered a psychiatric issue. It was considered mental disorder up until 2019. So up until 15 minutes ago, we didn't entertain people's gender expression and demanded you use their pronouns. Patients had a statistically significant increase in prevalence for these diagnoses, which major depressive episodes, disorder, and generalized anxiety. Now, people will say, well, it's because they're not affirmed enough. That's not true. When you look at the most affirming nations, you discover that the most affirming nations still have immense self-deletion rates. You go to like Sweden and the Scandinavian nations, the most affirming nations is still a massive rate of self-deletions amongst this community and amongst the general same-sex attraction community. So this idea that like, oh, well, they just need to be affirmed more. No, it's actually not true in nations that have done longer studies on this. The study found that individuals who had received a diagnosis of gender incongruence were 6 times more likely to have a mood or anxiety disorder than the general population, 3 times as likely to be prescribed antidepressants and anti-anxiety medications. Now, pay attention to that. That antidepressant, anti-anxiety medication. Pay attention to that because that's important. He says, and more than 6 times as likely to attempt self-deletion resulting in hospitalization. Not just attempt self-deletion, but attempt self-deletion that results in hospitalization. Now, Meet Kevin then points out this number, which is interesting. Let me play a little bit of his video, and you guys should go watch his video because the data is fascinating on this. But I think this is one of the reasons that we're seeing this sort of stuff. Check this out.
What else we've got to look at is Stanford suggests that people should be started on transitioning earlier in adolescence to help minimize some of those mental health issues. But then this raises the eyebrows of, wait a minute, are you potentially pushing people into this part of society that is just going to lead to a lifetime of mental health illnesses?
So which came first, the chicken or the egg? Is it that this sort of stuff leads to more mental health issues, or is it people with mental health issues are more likely to exhibit this? Either way, I'm not entertaining anyone's delusion. In the same way, and it's not because I'm not loving and I'm not compassionate. It's because I am. In the same way, if someone is bulimic and they have a body dysphoria, I'm not going to tell them they're fat when they're skinny.
Now, then you get into, well, what's going on with antidepressants, like our drugs?
Okay, pay attention closely.
Drugs and sort of this medical society that we're in. Everybody's so willing and excited to prescribe new drugs these days. Depressant drugs that can actually lead to delusions or other problems. Like, consider this. 8.1% of individuals who took antidepressants self-admitted to Yale that they ended up going into mania or psychosis, which basically means that antidepressants, which are supposed to make you better, could end up making you worse. And you're
okay. Now, I think there are some people that may need some medication some of the time, and I think that's fine. But there's a cautionary tale here that we have to pay attention to. Okay, so watch what he describes with this data here.
More likely to get these drugs if you're potentially being treated with a mental health issue. Oh, here's a drug to solve your problem. I'll give you 3 examples of the 3 most popular antidepressants today. Number 1, Zoloft, found by Case Western to provoke or exacerbate positive psychotic symptoms. Positive, not meaning it was good to be psychotic, meaning that, yeah, no, those symptoms are psychotic positive, which is bad. Look, using Prozac was found by Harvard to endorse subtle psychotic-like symptoms, like, quote, magical thinking, unusual perception experiences, believing others were talking about them when they weren't, picking up hidden meetings, and not trusting close acquaintances. Then you have Lexapro, which is one of the third most popular antidepressants, which is thought to cause delirium in certain children who are given Lexapro, which is also sad that some children are given this, like 9-year-olds. It's crazy. And it's a Staffordshire University, which found that in a minority of depressed patients, so this is a smaller percentage, but still some, in some depressed patients, treatment with an antidepressant drug appears to initiate intense suicidal thoughts and actions.
Okay, so those are possible side effects. I think most of us have heard the companies go, may cause more, more blah, 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 right? You've seen those things now. But watch when he points out why this is dangerous. Okay, so just stay with me for a second.
That's not good. Now, some of this could actually be because of the half-life of some of these. Consider this. The half-lives. By the way, you can get all my data and the links to my research on...
And again, go watch his full video. So check this out. So the half-lives. How long this takes to leave your system. Very strong relationship between that leave the body quickly being linked to higher risks. This increase discontinuation symptoms. This is why it's important if you're going to get on something like this, and some of you guys may need it, you have to be careful with if and when you get off of it. And especially don't just randomly stop taking your meds if you're going to get on an antidepressant, specifically these on the screen. Because if the half-life is short, it can swing you to the other extreme. And I think that's some of what's contributing here. Okay, some of what's contributing here.
Zoloft has a half-life of 26 hours. Prozac 48 to 96, and Lexapro 27 to 32. This means if you skip a day of your meds with Zoloft or Lexapro, you end up getting this like rapid rush of negative emotion, which increases thought. So,
did you guys catch that? So remember, folks who are predisposed, already 57% of folks in this community have another psychiatric disorder. They're getting on medication probably to treat them. And then if they get off of it, they swing to the other radical extreme of self-deletion, ideation, craziness. And you skip with Zoloft just one. Just skip it for one day and you could be in a craze with regards to self-deletion. That's really, really scary.
The shorter the half-life, the more likely it is that you're going to get what are called discontinuation symptoms, such as anxiety, irritability, mood swings, and thought, because those negative thoughts come rushing into your brain much more quickly. This is all a problem. So how does this all potentially relate back to the Kirk shooting? It relates back to the Kirk shooting because there's potentially an association here with being ostracized in life and having a transgender partner. But beyond that, not just living with the transgender roommate, it's also worth noting that the individual described himself as a hick in Mormonsville. It almost seemed like he was always, I mean, in some articles, he's described as a meme from Halloween, which is weird. Like, it kind of sounds like he was looking for a home and community, and he was really always ostracized, like kind of like an outcast.
Yeah. So you add all those layers to this situation, and that's how you get this awful recipe of this sort of impact, right? And there, people, I think Sagar was theorizing that he could have been onset schizophrenia, which doesn't usually hit you until your 20s. You know, and that does a real number on you, man. If you get onset schizophrenia, you stop taking your medication, that's heavy stuff. You know, that's heavy stuff. And so there's a lot of overlap with all of this that I think can really cause a lot of harm. Hey, thank you so much for watching this video all the way to the end. If you liked it, then hit the like button. If you liked it a lot and have a thought to share, leave a comment. If you are listening to this on the podcast app, make sure to leave a review, and you could even leave a comment over there. And if you want to watch another video that is recommended just for you, hit this video over here. Let me know if they nailed it. Also, you can partner with us monthly, which helps us out a lot in our monthly community, get access to early drops and all that kind of good stuff over here. All right, I'll see you over there. Peace.